G'day guys, and just welcome back to another video. I thought today I might just do a few more movie reviews for you. We're going to have the new Prometheus, new Ridley Scott's new Prometheus movie coming out. I think Australia's going to come out next week, so I'm really looking forward to that. So I thought I might sort of delve back into the first four movies and perhaps just do a bit of a review of them. I've sort of watched the first two recently again for probably the 100th time. So I thought I might perhaps just do a bit of a review perhaps for them, and then I might I'll do the first two movies today, and then I'll probably do the Alien 3 and Resurrection, another video, and then once I watch the new one, the Prometheus movie, I might just do a bit of a review on that. So yeah, we'll start with Alien. I'm sure I don't need to tell people that it's just a great film. Certainly one of my sort of favourite films that I've only sort of really started perhaps to appreciate perhaps over the last sort of at least few years anyway. I've also perhaps only sort of seen more of the Aliens movie, because that's supposedly supposed to be the sort of the superior, I suppose, of the two sort of movies. So you sort of get into the habit of sort of everyone's sort of saying that's the best one. So that's you sort of I don't know, get on the bandwagon, I suppose, and sort of assimilate sort of agree with everyone else, I suppose. But I actually think I've perhaps prefer the first movie a lot more to the second. I just really enjoy the sort of it's just a great sort of story, and a great sort of origin story. Just sort of the rest of the Aliens films, and it's very. Some people might say it's a very sort of boring film, but I wouldn't say it's boring. It's more very sort of realistic. It's it's all about sort of space travel, and space travel. I'm sure that it wouldn't be all flashy. It'd be very you go out for years and years. You're stuck in deep space for years, and sort of stuck with grey, boring walls, and perhaps people that you don't really get along with, and the food tastes like crap because it's all rehydrated, dry food basically, just sort of and just crap food, and just some of the sort of this also to do perhaps with the second movies is some of the equipment that doesn't work very well. Things sort of fuzzy, and the sound drops out, and it's really sort of realistic to the way. Well, if you sort of made these films today, that'd be a lot more flashy, and everything would work, and it'd be all colourful. And I just think Alien was a very great sort of horror type, really suspenseful type sort of movie, and just great sort of very sort of realistic characters. Like they're very sort of they're not sort of talking all the time. They're sort of just there to get the job done, and sort of sometimes only not necessarily sort of saying what needs to be said, and it's very sort of sharp, short sentences for the dialogue, and very sort of natural. And I think some of the lines perhaps were ad-libbed. I think I've heard, which just makes sort of add to this the realism of it all. And I think also that it's got a really great intro to the movie as well. Well, of course you've got the sort of the black opening scenes, got the black screen, you've got the sort of white dots that sort of eventually start to write the word alien, which is a great sort of intro. And but also what sort of happens after that, you sort of got the camera sort of comes into this sort of very quiet, sort of almost dead sort of spaceship, and you're sort of slowly moving through the corridors, and there's no sort of life at all, and then all of a sudden the computer wakes up and sort of lights, and everything starts to warm up. So then you sort of the computer comes up, and you got the sort of the lines of text and the colourful lights that are sort of appearing on that sort of that space helmet, that are just such a great sort of shot and a great sort of image of this empty space helmet with no one's home, but it's sort of being this text and this lights are sort of being shone in front of this sort of empty space helmet. Then you also get this sort of time lapsed sort of section where you sort of start to see through the crew, and they're sort of starting to wake up, and they're sort of slowly starting to become wake up and start to move slowly, and they eventually sort of get out of the little sleeping chambers, and then of course the film sort of starts. Just a really great sort of movie, very sort of very sort of small, and some ways very sort of simplistic. You just got 4 or 5 characters, and they're just sort of there trying to do their job, and basically just sort of trying to get home, I suppose. Now on to the second movie, Aliens, directed by James Cameron. It's in some ways a lot sort of different film, a lot more sort of action type driven. Of course, it sort of, obviously, sort of builds on the first movie. And there's a lot of sort of nods, I think, to the first movie in it as well. But definitely, it's a lot more action driven and a bit more fun to watch, I guess. Essentially, sort of Ripley gets picked up, and she sort of gets asked to go back to the planet from the first movie. They've got some colonists up there, and basically sort of lost contact with them, and so she's sort of set up with her and a group of sort of Marines. She's sort of like a bit of an advisor. Slightly different sort of film, a lot more sort of action. It's great characters, and also it's a lot more. Yeah, it's definitely an expanded out film from the first one. The first movie was very sort of simple, and a lot of sort of dialogue, and very sort of enclosed style movie. Whereas the Aliens is a lot more. Well, when it sort of starts out on Earth, that's a very sort of. I found that very sort of enclosed as well. There's sort of like there's no sort of like massive shots of the skyline and massive cities or what sort of Earth looks like in the future type thing. It's more of everything was sort of set in very sort of small enclosed rooms with sort of white walls or grey walls, and just about the characters, and very sort of simplistic sci-fi. So she sort of gets they go back up into space, back to the planet, and the sort of film goes from there. Obviously, you can sort of tell what's going to happen. But yeah, it's also got some great sort of sort of set design too. You got the sort of the yellow sort of robot that Ripley gets into and sort of walks around in, and you got the coin. That would have been a really huge puppet basically, and that would have been a lot of work would have made into making that, and sort of trying to animate it. And you also got the drop ships and the little sort of the car, little sort of I don't know, tank style car that sort of comes out of the drop ship, and just sort of the big sort of hangar too, where all the the big sort of the guns and missiles and big sort of kind of like a warehouse, I suppose, sort of thing. So just really good, nice shots in there, and lots of little sort of toys, I suppose, that James Cameron wanted to make, I suppose. Lots of things to play with, and gadgets and stuff like that, I suppose. Yeah, just sort of great sort of characters, and it looks sort of great. Both movies look really good on Blu-ray. Perhaps in some ways, I think some people might sort of perhaps be a bit upset, perhaps with the fact that it's a bit too clear. Like there's a lot of sort of the hardcore fans say that it should be very sort of grainy and very sort of dark, and you can't necessarily see everything. Which I suppose in some ways with the new sort of, at least I sort of noticed with the new sort of Blu-ray releases, they're while it looks nice and you can sort of see a bit better, some of the sort of, in terms of when you sort of have the later on in the film, when we sort of start to sort of see the aliens, I think in some ways that's a bit, you sort of see too much of them. In some ways it's a bit too clear. You're sort of used to perhaps seeing them in sort of shadows, and I think in some ways it just doesn't sort of loses some of the effect. I think some of the sort of scariness for the aliens. But definitely, great sort of movie. A lot of sort of nods to the first one, and it's just very expanded out a lot, I think, compared to the first sort of movie. So yeah, that's my sort of quick sort of views on the sort of the first two Aliens movies. If you want to make some comments down below, what your favourite Alien movie is. If you look at if you're gonna go and see Prometheus. I've been trying to sort of stay away from the media in terms of I think I watched the trailers probably once, and I'm sort of staying away from reviews or trying to say I feel that I've sort of seen it, just so I can. I just want to sort of go in and just sort of not knowing anything about it, and just I reckon that'd be a great way to sort of experience it. Yeah, so certainly leave some comments. Hopefully over the next few days before I go and see Prometheus, I'll do the part 3 and part 4 of Aliens franchise. Yeah, so thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later. Bye.